What is going on, everybody? Is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we're going to be doing a Daniel Jeremiah mock. He updated it post Tyreek Hill trade, so very excited to see this. Of course, if you guys like this type of content, like mock drafts, you guys should check out the one I dropped yesterday post Tyreek Hill trade. Feel free to stick along for the ride. I would love for you guys to like, comment, and subscribe. I love talking to you guys down in the comment section below. And if you guys want to get even more involved, feel free to go down the links down in the description, Twitter, Instagram, Discord. Have over 130 people there. You guys can message me directly whenever you want. I like to be there for you guys because it makes the job fun. I don't like to talk to a damn camera. I like to talk to you. So again, let's get some good football discourse down in the comment section below. I like to do all this stuff, and including my mock drafts live, so you guys get to see my thought process. And if you guys catch me where my thought process is wrong, that just makes my content better for you guys in the future. So please be polite when you're giving criticism as well. Again, like hatred's super easy to do, but honestly, I want you guys to invest in me because I'm investing back into you guys. Of course, if you guys do want to see some offensive line rankings, those should already be up. So check that out, and we're going to have a great time. So let's kick off into the video. And number one, we got Aidan Hutchinson here. I think that that's just kind of like the foregone conclusion. My highest graded edge rusher. And that video about edge rushers are going to be coming out pretty damn soon as well. Very excited for that one. Yeah, basically with the offseason moves the Jaguars have done, it didn't close the door on a tackle, but it definitely made the probability much lower. So I think someone like Aidan Hutchinson would be a phenomenal option. He's going to be a day one impact on your roster. He had 74 pressures last year, was absolutely dominant against the highest level of competition, should have been the Heisman. Just a guy who's really, really solid all around. Really good RAS score as well. The 10-yard split was top of the class. Like, this guy is an absolute monster. Came back after a brutal injury as well and totally recomped his body, lost some weight, kept the power, and then boosted his speed. That is what you need to win in the NFL. His floor is Trey Hendrickson, and that is a guy who's already getting paid $15 million a year and is having a big impact on a team that was in the Super Bowl. So love Aidan Hutchinson. I think he could be a really good contributor for a very long time. Number two, we got the Detroit Lions here. We're going to try to keep it a little bit more like a reveal thing. Travon Walker out of Georgia. I'm honestly thinking about potentially putting him there as well. Again, the hype is sky high. I know that Dan Campbell loves one hell of a worker. And, you know, these Georgia guys, you see how hard they work in the offseason during the season as well. And you know that these guys put every ounce of their body into the game. Like, football is their life. Travon Walker is a freaky athlete, 34.5-inch arms. He's just an alien, man. 4'5" at 275. It's just not normal. Not normal at all. And Travon Walker definitely could be the best edge in the class if you train him properly. Lacks a bit of edge bend, which is a bit concerning. But honestly, when you have such low expectations on the Lions, it'll give him time to develop. I still would rather take KT over him. But, you know, Travon Walker is an absolute beast. There's something to be said that all these Georgia players did not look like they actually reached their potential in Georgia. I don't know if that is just because they're all playing together and they couldn't really shine, or because maybe the defensive scheme wasn't utilizing them properly, which that'd be kind of insane to say, right? Georgia was absolutely dominant. Or maybe these guys just aren't as good singular talent as they are as a group. So I'm praying that it's more of the formers rather than the latter. So let's pray, because Travon Walker could be an absolute baller. Number three, you got KT. So, I mean, that's kind of, I would love KT on this team. I just don't think that, basically, with the way the whole entire NFL and all players in general usually look at the Houston Texans, especially someone who is very cognizant of his situation, like KT, very entrepreneurial mindset. He likes to know where he's at. He likes to know how it's going to benefit him. The Houston Texans aren't really the destination where a lot of NFL players are very excited to go. And if we're worried about KT having those issues in terms of his motor, this is probably the worst place that you can take him. I love KT. Again, I went to high school with him, Oaks Christian represent, but he probably, I mean, I would love him at 2. This is just not the right team to do it. I don't know why. I just don't see it. Lovie Smith might be able to get the most out of him, but at the same time, I just really get bad vibes from this. And is it officially a football explanation? No, but not everything in this world needs a legitimate explanation. Sometimes that gut feeling where you just don't think, like, history has also proven that guys with extremely high ceilings like Jadeveon Clowney have not reached it there. When you're already dealing with the personality concerns in terms of taking plays off, Going to a franchise that is not looked at as a very good one is probably not the best situation for someone like that. Number 4, the Jets go Sauce Gardner. Very happy to see his picture pop up. Yeah, Sauce Gardner is an absolute stud. I usually put him right here. I will say that there is a potential option for an offensive tackle. People got all mad because I'll just spoil it. I traded up from, I think, 10 to 8 in my mock draft to be able to select him because I already drafted I forgot who I actually drafted. It might have been KT. And people were saying that's like a weird trade. Why would we trade up for a corner? Like, guys, I was taking Sauce Gardner, like the mock draft before at number 4. He's graded out as my number 1 player in the class. And that's with me I purposely do not watch him versus AAC, like against AAC receivers. I mean, you can look at SMU, but he's going to lock him down anyways. By the way, pony up. I go to SMU if you guys don't know. So I've been seeing Sauce Gardner for quite a while now. The guy's absolutely dominant. I think he was my corner 2 coming into the year, and now he's my corner 1. I love him. You could just tell that he is just such a great impact on the field every time he comes in. Has not let up a touchdown in his college career. And I mean, I've never seen a prospect as good as Sauce my entire time studying. It's him and probably Penei Sewell that take the cake, and then Kyle Pitts is in there as well. So love them. Obviously, Jamar Chase was up there too. Number 5 with the Giants, Ikem Ekwonu. Oh yeah, I can't forget to mention Micah Parsons with my number 3 guy. But Ike Ekwonu at this spot, I would personally go what the Carolina Panthers did with Evan Neal, because you've already kind of put some good capital in terms of money and free agency into the interior. Ikem Ekwonu has the highest ceiling, but at the same time, he just figured it out at left tackle. You're going to be forcing him to start at right, while Evan Neal's already played a full year at right and played very well. So if you swap these picks, I'd be perfectly happy with it. I do know there's a lot of hype on Icky. And again, I don't think John Feliciano or Mark Lewinsky are going to stop me from putting Icky on the interior to make sure his development's good and still have Matt Peart outside. That'd just be kind of like a little bit of a letdown. It would feel almost like a Leatherwood type of move in the short run, but still like the idea of going offensive line right there. Evan Neal's an absolute stud. He is my number 1 tackle overall by a good margin. Number 7, the Giants go Jermaine Johnson here. Very intriguing, because I do know that they did just lose out. Well, they didn't lose out. They got rid of Logan Ryan, and they allowed him. I believe he might have went down to Tampa. Regardless, I think that when you have Kyle Hamilton on the board, it's almost a no-brainer at that point. Hell, even Malik Willis at this point wouldn't be a bad option, which, if I'm not mistaken, he might not be in this mock draft. We'll see about that. But yeah, Jermaine Johnson is a pretty damn phenomenal edge rusher regardless. I just personally wouldn't go with him at this spot. He is a bit older. I think he's a redshirt senior. I think he might have came out of JUCO as well, but really solid player. No doubt about it. He's one of my favorite dudes. I think I was probably the first putting him up there at number 16 to the Eagles. I was like, dude, this guy's a stud. And I mean, well, he's made even a higher surge than that one. Big fan of Jermaine Johnson here. Next, we got the Atlanta Falcons going Garrett Wilson. I make that pick myself. I think it's phenomenal. I think if they do trade down, it wouldn't be a bad idea, though, to be able to garner more picks, because there are some huge holes on this roster. And if you end up with someone like Drake London, or even if you trade back far enough where you have to go with Treylon Burks, you're still getting really good pieces to be able to develop a better roster overall. But still, Garrett Wilson, my wide receiver 1. I love it. Seattle Seahawks, Charles Cross. I'm a big fan of that as well. Top end tackle. And I'm a huge fan of him. Number 10, New York Jets going Drake London. So I do this myself. So far, this has been pretty damn similar to my drafts, and I kind of dig it. Of course, Kyle Hamilton's gone. So if you literally subbed in Kyle Hamilton right here, it's not very different from what I normally do. But yeah, number 11, you got Kyle Hamilton going to the Washington Commanders. It was a 4.59. I keep saying 4.56. Regardless, he actually does play at 4.59. When you do watch him, he just is extremely smart and minimizes the impact of it, which is what you have to do when you're of that size and of that speed. And he does it perfectly. So I still think he could be a top 10 pick. I love him to death. Very, very, very talented player. He, I think, graded out as a tied number 3 guy in the draft with Aidan Hutchinson. So again, no shitting on Kyle Hamilton here. He's a phenomenal prospect. Should go before this. If I'm the New York Jets, I'd be taking Kyle Hamilton over Drake London. I love Drake London, and I know how big the need for a wide receiver is. Kyle Hamilton is just that special. But Washington gets to capitalize, so good for them. Number 12, the Vikings going Jordan Davis. For all those people who tried to hate on me for putting Jordan Davis to the Vikings. Yeah, granted, I have gone after Daniel Jeremiah multiple times for some of the mock stuff, but again, most of this, like up to this point, I'm pretty sure all the guys are essentially the same. I know Trent McDuffie fits this scheme like a glove. Again, this is gonna be a Lovie Smith cover 2, and I think that's the best situation for Trent McDuffie. If this does happen, I'm not gonna be mad at it at all. Honestly, I'm not that high on Trent McDuffie. Again, this is the perfect scheme fit. So I'm not going to crap on it. I think the Texans could trade back and still select him, and I'd be very happy with that. But again, like I understand why. And I know that the NFL is very high on him. I don't have a very high grade on him. He's a sub 6-foot corner. He has short arms, and I just didn't see it on tape. I keep watching him trying to figure out what everybody sees. I just don't exactly see it. Still like an early third rounder for me as a talent on its own. In a scheme fit, that's a late first. Like I do think that's a late first rounder. So again, this is not a horrible pick. I'm just not a fan of the value. Still, again, fits, solid talent. I'm fine with it. Number 14, the Ravens going George Karlaftis. I love him to death. I do. They lost out in the edge race, and Jermaine Johnson's not here. So I am perfectly fine with that. Tyler Linderbaum doesn't fit the scheme, but could be moving there. Could be the move. Highest center ever drafted was at 20. And that might have been what the Saints did with Cesar Ruiz. Regardless, first draft I actually was fully into. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, Baltimore Ravens getting GK. I love him. I love George Karlaftis. People who say he's not explosive, no disrespect, but you don't really know what you're talking about. Guy had a 38-inch vertical, and based on a 4.7 40, which the way he dropped weight, he might have ran even faster. He was already in that like 9.8 territory for RAS. Like he is an absolute freak athlete. Just doesn't have the bend. He flashes some of it. He does have that ankle mobility to be able to do it. Just needs to continue developing it. And in my notes, I said if this guy can drop 10 pounds and continue kind of like make an Aidan Hutchinson move, he could be top of the class. And he's my number 3 edge by a good margin as well. I love George Karlaftis with a passion. 15, Eagles going Devontae Wyatt. I get it. I do. And I'm not ever going to crap on the Philadelphia Eagles for doing that. But right now you have Fletch. He's going to be gone after a year. He might even be moved. You never know. Obviously, there's been talks about it. But you have Fletch, you have Hargrave, and then you have my boy, my interior defensive lineman 2 last year, Milton Williams. And I love Milton. I think he'll be a big impact on this roster. He's already made some really good flashes. To me, getting Devontae Wyatt kind of just like the middle finger to him. And does that mean that the Philadelphia Eagles won't do it? Absolutely not, because you go the best player available. You fix your roster. You make it as good as possible. At the same time, I do think Milton Williams is starter quality, and I think that he would be a better player in the long run than Devontae Wyatt could be possibly in the short. And I don't really think the Philadelphia Eagles are playing for the short run. I just don't think that the marginal difference between Wyatt and Milton Williams is going to be as drastic as people think. And I mean, that's just me. I love Milton Williams, the passion. Again, he's one of my dudes last draft, and I had like a late first, early second on him. That's my only thing. I still love Devontae Wyatt. If they can, this is why I keep saying if they can get Jordan Davis, that's my favorite pick for them for this pick. And the only reason for that is because he's so unique. He's so different. It's not super close to what Milton Williams is or Javon Hargrave. That is why I like to put out somebody different. Again, Devontae Wyatt is a phenomenal talent. Eagles then going Devin Lloyd. I think going after a middle linebacker who's super seasoned, perfectly fine. Chargers going Trevor Penning here. Yeah. I mean, it's been the talk around town. I've been doing it for a hot minute as well. Brian Bulaga, back when Brian Bulaga was even playing, I was like, he's not going to be there for very long. Got cut. And it just makes sense. He's the dude with an extreme upside and a lot of hype in the NFL. Then you got the New Orleans Saints going Kenny Pickett. So Kenny Pickett's first quarterback off the board. When you bring back James Winston on a 2-year deal, I mean, it just doesn't really make sense to bring someone with a lower ceiling and a higher floor. I'd much rather go after Malik Willis at this point. I think James would understand. Like, dude, you have a guy who's extremely mobile, has a cannon for an arm, and he's somebody who's in an excellent locker room presence. Just like Jameis is. Jameis is a really good locker room presence. He got humbled really quickly, and he's become an amazing asset to your team. I actually don't get that vibe from Kenny Pickett. When I watch him play, it doesn't really feel like he commands a locker room the same way that Malik Willis would. It just you just look at that and like the EQ isn't the same. I honestly think Kenny Pickett might fall out of the first. I really do. And like, I know that DJ says he's thinking he can land in the top 10. I think that would be an absolutely terrible move for a franchise to get a seasoned quarterback that doesn't have a very high ceiling. It feels almost like Brandon Weeden back in the day to the Browns. Like, you're getting somebody who you think can just come in day one and play, but the ceiling isn't there. They're not 21 years old. If this is Sam Howell, awesome. He's a 21-year-old with a cannon arm and just needs some development in terms of his progressions because he was in a poor system in terms of NFL level progressions. Just, it doesn't make sense for Kenny Pickett. I really like, you just watch. I don't know. I just don't know. I watched his Pro Bowl, or not his Pro Bowl, his Senior Bowl tape because I had media access. I got to watch every throw. He was not the best quarterback there at all. He might have been the worst. And I just don't know what people really see. He has to wear gloves on both hands just to throw the ball properly. I don't know. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I have the same, if not larger hand size than Kenny Pickett. I'm 5'9". Like, it just doesn't make sense. And then you go Eagle. Oh my, what the? Come on. Oh, come on, DJ. We were kind of vibing. These past two picks hurt. I mean, even Derek Stingley's on the board. Like, why? I know, like, Boye has a shit ton of talent and he's a freak athlete. You really think that the Philadelphia Eagles do that? Like, over all the other edges, like, you go Boye? Man, that is a surprise. Like, I know that he's a freak, but I mean, would I hate it? No, because I do think Boye Mafe is an extreme high level talent, but I think you need to get some. I don't have a legitimate excuse here. I don't. I have Arnold Ebiketie. I have a couple of guys above him. That's where I'll put that. But I do understand like the hype around Boye. Again, somebody of that athletic profile. If we're talking about Travon Walker at 2, we could definitely talk about Boye at 19. I mean, man, why not just wait to the second? Get Arnold Ebiketie, get even if you suck out, like you just lose out on everything and then end up with Kingsley Enagbare or Sam Williams. Like, I like Sam Williams, but Myjai Sanders, these guys who could be there in the second, if not third round, the talent differential's not that much. And it's just, man, you can get Derek Stingley. Let's not even talk about Derek Stingley. Let's throw that out of the equation because maybe the Liz Frank thing scares the shit out of the Eagles because injury's been a problem. You got Kyrie Elam there, Andrew Booth. Like, you have legit corners that could be there. Probably won't be there in the second. And I mean, you can even go wide receiver here. Like, there's just other positions to go than this. Man, I really want to hear it because my Eagles fans are the most vocal, arguably. You guys got to tell me what you think about that. Like, I feel like you have 3 edge rushers that are not known to be marquee, consistent edge rushers. You have Hassan Reddick, who's been good the past 2 years, but he's around, I think, 230 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. He might be a little bit heavier than that, so feel free to correct me there. But then you have Josh Sweat. I think that you need someone else who's going to make a day one impact if you're really going to do that. And Boye Mafe is so raw. He did really well at the Senior Bowl, but man, I honestly am starting to like it the more I look at it. But like, I like it with the idea of what he could be on the Eagles, not, hey, this is their 3rd first-round pick. I don't know. You guys got to tell me about that one. I'm not, what? That's a big shocker. I know DJ likes to throw these in there. Steelers going Derek Stingley. I'd be so happy. I don't even care if he never plays. Like, I'm a Steelers fan, by the way, if you guys don't know. I would just like it. I would. It'd be so funny. Just say, like, hey, Derek Stingley's a Pittsburgh Steeler. I dig it. Yeah, you got New England Patriots going Jameson Williams here. I could totally see it. You know, he obviously didn't play with Mac Jones, but giving a good deep threat could be a good option. Of course, during his, since we're talking about, like, why do I keep wanting to say Pro Bowl workouts? Wow, pro day. During his pro day, he actually continued to miss his deep targets. That was like the funny thing. I actually have that bookmarked in my Twitter, is like just looking at Bill Belichick and Kyle Shanahan just like shaking their head whenever Mac missed deep. regardless, this would still be a phenomenal option. Stretches the field. You see what's happening down in Miami now with Tyreek Hill. You kind of want your own version of that, right? So let's continue. Green Bay Packers going Chris Olave. I mean, I just really hope they bring on somebody else who could be a true number one, because I love Chris Olave, but he has never in his career been the solidified number one receiver ever. Garrett Wilson always challenged him for it. Obviously, I think he had, I don't know if he was there during the Benjamin Victor and KJ Hill days, but those guys, I mean, I know he also had Terry McLaurin in his freshman year. I mean, he's played with some dudes. He's just never been the number one guy, and you're going to be forcing him to be a number one player in a Super Bowl competition level team. That's going to be tough, really tough. Then you got Treylon Burks to the Cardinals. That's interesting because you lose Christian Kirk, but you replace him with Treylon Burks. I can see Jahan Dotson being more of a target here, or Sky Moore. I wouldn't go Sky Moore personally. It feels a little bit like Rondale, but I mean, Treylon Burks, I got to hear my Cardinals fans' thoughts on that. I'm not a huge fan of it, and I love Treylon Burks. That is interesting. You could get your Deebo Samuel. So I can actually see it from like, hey, if you can't beat him, join him with that Deebo Samuel role. I can see it, but that is just a weird idea for me. Cowboys going Zion Johnson here. I would personally much rather go after Tyler Linderbaum. I do think he's a better value per player, but again, if you just want to look at a guard, I can understand that. Number 25, the Bills go Breece Hall. Y'all Bills fans, it's been a 50-50 shot. Some of you guys really like Breece Hall, or like a running back in general. I've gotten 0 out of 2 bites on Breece Hall. One of them, like James Cook, which again, respect it. I understand that you like the smoothness of his running ability. I think Breece Hall has that. He has the best vision in the class. To think that the Bills are going to take Breece Hall in the first is really interesting, though, because to me, he is definitely heads and above all the other talents as running back one. Like, if you looked at my grading scale, and this hasn't changed at all, I don't like to change it because I'm going to reflect a point of view that makes it look better for me. I really couldn't care. I have Alec Pierce as my wide receiver 5, and I'm not going to back down. Like, Breece Hall, if you do want to get a running back and you're saying, hey, screw it, we need it, this is one last piece. I mean, the Bills have issues at corner too. I can't support it, but I do understand it. Like, Breece Hall could be that final piece. And even DJ says he could be the finishing touch. Tyler Smith to the Tennessee Titans. I think I did that myself. I love that move with a passion. Could play guard in the short run and tackle in the long. I dig it. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Travis Jones, a guy, yeah, you could be losing some pieces there. Travis Jones will step in day one and be an absolute mauler. Having him next to Vita Vea would be ridiculous. Having those guys, oh my God, ridiculous. Green Bay Packers going Jahan Dotson. So you went 2 wide receivers. The why not is a fair question, actually. I mean, when you look at it now, Jahan, he has been a number 1 receiver. So you can put Jahan as a number 1 and then Chris Olave as a number 2, and they can work really well as a good tandem. I mean, I guess, sure. You know, I can't complain about it. I wouldn't complain about it. I know Rodgers in control of this. So after never drafting a first-round wide receiver, they finally draft 2 in a row. You know what? That's okay. I like Jahan Dotson. He's my wide receiver 3. I'm a big fan of him. Chiefs going Arnold Ebiketie. I think at this point, the Chiefs could just go after David Ojabo and say, you know what? I'm going to wait and see how he comes back. But I love Arnold Ebiketie. Told you guys about it, and big fan of what he can bring to the table. And this was actually something I was going to talk about here. I think Christian Watson might be the pick for the Chiefs. Like, after doing the mock, I was like, damn, because you're still looking for that legit deep threat. Mecole Hardman hasn't developed as that deep threat, and Christian Watson's best ability is as a deep threat. Is he worth a first-round pick? Hell no. But when you watch him, holy crap. Like, his deep speed is there. You watch it. He separates like insane. The speed is legit. It's not just like, oh, you did it at the combine. That is a legit burner right there. And he's 6'5". He has some issues with dropping those balls. He's not very good at the contested catch point. And I know that I think he went over the Sam Houston State guy. Man, I'm bugging. Zion McCollum, he mossed him during the Senior Bowl. But when you watch the tape, he pretty much wasn't kind of like a non-factor in terms of the jump ball, which is surprising for his size, but I think he can learn it. I think the deep speed kind of negates that, though. I think you're perfectly fine with it. This is one of those reaches where I'm actually kind of a big fan. I am, because Christian Watson brings Tyreek Hill speed. at 6'5", and that's pretty bold of me to say, but this guy's pretty legit. Then you got Tyler Linderbaum to the Bengals. How that's just dream come true. I'm not going to talk about it. Like, guys, just pop the champagne. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do this right now. If the Bengals get Tyler Linderbaum, if he falls that far, I will buy Dom Perignon, come onto the show, and then drink it live on live stream. Not the entire bottle. I would die. I'm not that much of a heavyweight, but I will drink at least a glass or two of Dom Perignon live for the Bengals, who are a division rival of my Steelers, if they get Tyler Linderbaum, because that's absolutely a dream pick. And then you got Nakobe Dean here, ending it off at pick 32. Again, I think that's a phenomenal option, especially if you can find a way to slot in a safety at the beginning of next round. So that's going to be the video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. Again, honestly, for a DJ mock, this is pretty damn logical. So I dig it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the far side.